Hello YouTube, it is me, Calamity DJ, starting out this chaotic video with my good pal and 3 years of friendship, Savage. What a lovely day, right Savage? To fight battles, like in the old stories. And as you guys know, me and Savage, okay, I'm gonna start the mission though, Savage, we should probably start the mission. Oh, apparently Simeon don't like us. Savage, fire a missile at Simeon's store just for refusing me service. There you go, that's better. Yeah, plus Simeon basically rips Franklin off every time.
Hello, how you doing? How can I help? I take it this isn't purely a social call. Of course not.
But yep, guys, 3 years from now, me and Savage met. Right, Savage? Three years ago, me and Savage met on a Simeon Yetarian repo job. Back in 2022, May 6th, aka today. So Savage, shall we do... I'm gonna start it. Should we do personally one of our favorite missions, RV Nearly There Yet? Me and Savage met 3 years ago from today, and it's been crazy. We've had well, me and Savage left me for like half a year, as well as Riptide. But it's saying about Riptide, right, Savage? Here we go, my favorite. It has been so crazy. I'm here, Savage. Remember this. Savage, just let the nostalgia wave slap you. So we taking Bloomview? Wait, do you want to drive or do I drive it? Oh wait, remember the copyright. Oh, you want to drive? I mean, you want to get in the gun like you used to? So, three years has said. Remember we did this mission. My driving is still pretty much pinpoint, absolute shit. Dude, remember the missions didn't even have dialogue, and yet I'd still do them. Wait, dude, could we use a Titan 250D on this mission? Remember back in the day, Savage, we didn't have planes. You had a Kuruma and I had this. My son. Remember even back then, Bloomview didn't even talk? Remember when yeah. Remember your old Kuruma? Remember your PS4 account, KJ Savage 3599. Your original account. But something happened to it. I'm not going to disclose it. said, just kind of just delete those vehicles like you used to do. Hey, Savage. I did mention before we did this that I would be explaining some stuff. And now I am. So we're going to be explaining the origins, explanation, a couple other things for some of my characters, the series in general, and a couple other ideas that I wanted to go over. So let's first talk about probably the idea for the Calamity Multiverse. Not too long ago, probably like 2020 or 2019, I used to watch a show called Amphibia. You guys can probably look it up. I'll probably do a worse, probably not able to explain to it, but I used to watch it and I liked the concept, so I decided to, as I call, borrow it. And by borrow in today's standard means kind of copy a couple elements, but still keep some of it original. And that's where I got the inspiration for the Calamity element. Yes, I may have accidentally stolen from Disney. Disney, don't sue me. Hey, Seth, if I didn't do that, you wouldn't have these stories. You know that, right? So what would you have rather? Me steal from Disney or just not have stories altogether? That's the question. Oh, Savage, be careful, man. I can't, Savage. You might have blown up all the cars so I can't even get through. Uh-oh. Hey, Savage, back up plane. Up an animizer. But, so that's kind of like in the... And the thing is, one of the characters, obviously the hammer and the sword, but there's no character for there's no real weapon for the green member. So I decided to just do a double sword, which is what Riptide uses. Not anymore though, he's no longer really a thing with us anymore. Right, Savage? Ah! He said he ain't going nowhere, so I believe him. Oh wow, we're making this SUV fly. But, now, Savage, I'm gonna let you pick something you've always wanted an explanation for. It could be an explanation for a character, an idea. Like characters, like an explanation of like William, anything about him, or any other character, Jax, Catnap, or I want that Catnap to the series. Anything really that relating to the stories. Although I think this is good enough. You drive. So, you have any questions about anything? Yeah, you have any questions though relating to the stories themselves? And what, like, anything, like any questions related to the characters, anything you've been curious about? Yeah, actually. So, would you like me to explain some stuff about William, I guess? William, fun fact, was actually born. So William was actually born in Alabama. Was raised by two parents, male and female, obviously. What? Yeah, but yeah, William was born in Alabama to two parents, but then eventually dropped out of high school and got a summer job at a burger shop. Funny enough, and Then eventually, he got older and met a man known as and then eventually he met DJ, aka me. Okay, whatever. Eventually, though, he said he meant DJ. DJ offered him a job working for him. Eventually, William worked as a prison guard aboard the Climatech assault station. The original one, by the way, Savage. Remember the original station, the one that didn't get blown up? Yes, guys, there was a previous station. And I miss it dearly. But, yeah. Yeah, so, and then you, Savage, I remember, you met William on the original Climatech station in Prison Cell Block V. You met William, you liked William, and you guys kind of became friends. Then William eventually changed over years, becoming more, eventually gaining the Climatech suit. And I like the ones being Savage wear, like the big one, like a massive, like, mech suit kind of thing. Yeah, and, he kind of just grew from there. Also, didn't he have cancer at one point? What do I do next? But, so, and that's kind of William. He was, he originally was a prison guard aboard the Climatech station. And you met him in the prison cells, and you kind of met in the prison. You guys kind of started doing things together, you know? To my, not to the, I guess you'd say DJ's dissatisfaction. But then you get the end to see that the DJ, that CMDJ, really wasn't kind to his employees. They really didn't like that, didn't you? And then eventually you left. Right, Savage, remember you left at some point. Oh, I think I have the... Okay, good.
I'm late. Move your ass.
But yeah, so next up, I guess I could say is Bogdan. So I think we're stuck in first person, man. You think you can work with it? But yeah, so Bogdan, the Russian psychopath wielding 2 battle axes, is quite the interesting character. He was based off, obviously, Bogdan from Grand Theft Auto. Remember the Doomsday Heist Act 2? I based Bogdan off of that Bogdan. You know, hence the whole Russian craziness. though Bogdan was the peculiar character, he also was kind of a nice one. I know Riptide related with him a lot. I said, I'm out of here, man. Good luck. Bogdan was born in Soviet times, in the Soviet Union, at least 10 years before the Berlin Wall fell, and the Soviet Union kind of, collapsed. Small victory. But eventually, and when Bogdan was old enough, he joined the Russian army. He joined the Soviet Union army, but then it collapsed not too long afterwards. And, well, he didn't know what to do. So he moved to the Americas. He moved to the Americas and searched for a better life. But all he found was as dumb Americans drinking their life problems away during the 2000s. Of course, he had hippies and whatever else, Unsure of what to do, he kind of just said his own thing in the background until he, like everyone else, met a single man, Calamity DJ. And back then, DJ so Savage. So Savage. This might sound hard to believe, but DJ and Calamity ETP was actually on the brink of bankruptcy. Did you know that? Back in 2010, after Bogdan was just living a normal life, back then the Calamity Enterprises was on its knees. It was running out of money. They had debt and they didn't know how to pay it off. And this is before DJ joined the Calamity Alliance, which meant that he kind of had no one to look to. Eventually he met Bogdan in a bar, and got to know him, knowing that maybe he could be of a good help to his barely functional company. After they talked, he got to learn that Bogdan had moved from Russia to the US, and deciding that maybe he might be able to work with him, asked if he would help him. Which led to Bogdan eventually becoming a member of the crew. And after that, DJ actually began doing well. Bogdan began helping him with work, specifically paperwork, as, believe it or not, DJ back then didn't have any employees to do all his paperwork for him. And then, like William, Bogdan became kind of this giant buff, strong guy who probably punch your head off to the moon. So Savage. Savage. Who's the next character I'd like to talk about, and why I add them? Inspiration, or just in general, their overall role. I've went over William and Bogdan. Like, do you want to know about me, Kayla, Killer Soldiers, anyone? So, okay, Kayla, guys, I don't know how obvious it is, but Kayla is based off of Uzi Doorman from the show, indie show by Glitch Productions, Murder Drones. Similarities are noticeable. They both say bite me a lot, obvious one. They both also have people in their lives who they both hate and care about, being Predator, and also both have a friend who they despise, but you have to work with in the form of V. Or in Kayla's case, Savage. She kind of doesn't like you, but yet she still cares about you. They both just really are mad 24/7 in general. They both kind of get upset in general. But then there's also the fact that Kayla's design is also made up of a having silver skin, which is really just basically due to some of the coatings made by the DJs to help the Killer Soldiers adapt with the armor. She has black and red armor, primarily used for protecting them. It's because you know how hard those Killer Soldiers are to kill, right, Savage? She also has purple hair, and also dons a head covering, usually some kind of helmet, but sometimes most either a white or black helmet. Kayla also has massive reinforced silver wings, but the Killer Soldier wing can also be matte black or silver. Wait, did I already say silver? Getting me silver, graphite, or this is color, graphite colored, silver colored, or just black. Maybe black and gold if you're a high-ranking Killer Soldier. Basically, in simple terms, the Killer Soldiers have multiple different utilities. These Killer Soldiers primarily are used by the DJs for eliminating people who, to them, can friend their power. As Savage would know, as Toy DJ tried to send 3 of them after him. One of them one of them was killed, and the other became one of his best friends. Even if Kayla doesn't seem like she wants to be your friend. And that's Kayla for you. Who's next? Huh? Well, these have been characters from the story. Who's next? Agori. Agori was born in the 1960s in, of course, the Soviet Union. His parents taught him to always hate Americans. Says to think Agori might have not actually hated Americans at one point, but his parents told him to always hate them. As mentioned, he was taught to always hate Americans at a young age, as they only brought death, and communism was always the way. But when Agori moved out at 15, not wanting to stay in there anymore, it was the Soviet Union had already begun to crash. When he moved to what is now present-day Ukraine, the Soviet Union had already collapsed, and let's just say Ukraine had went on the splits with Russia back in the 1900s. But soon after, he moved to the United States, where he advocated for communism and rented himself out as a hitman. Which he did pretty good, not gonna lie, he did fairly well, renting himself out as a hitman for people desperate just for people who wanted people gone, and someone who would do it at a decent price. So yeah, Savage, Agori was always a mercenary, man. Did you even know Agori was a mercenary? In general? Yeah, he was a mercenary. But eventually, right about now, close to around his 50s and early 60s, he needed a job. And then eventually he met you, Savage, in a bar. I don't know if I did a story on this, but eventually he kinda met you. You guys met in a bar. And you liked him, even though he kind of looked like he wanted to punch you just for being an American. Agori was, like I said before, always taught to hate Americans, showing them as these pigs who only cared about themselves. Which, I mean, not wrong, but also kind of wrong at the same time. Eventually, he also got into the market of selling guns, which, if I remember, is what your company primarily does. Exports arms fires to this generation, right? Yeah. But then eventually, so Agori kind of just started working for you. And like I said before, you said you were not aware he was a mercenary, right? That means I could realistically kill you whenever I want to. I can just take it over for myself. He's got a good point. Actually, if I did that, I could realistically pay myself as much as I want to. Wait, destroyed? I died. And so apparently, if you die, it destroys the Sasquatch. Can you believe that? But yeah, so Savage, next character. Let's get this. Just keep moving. Who is the next character you want to know more about? Jack Xavier, Thompson, Bradley, the 18th. And yes, you heard me right, the 18th. He has quite a long family history. Jack Xavier, Thompson, Bradley, the 18th. Jack Xavier was born in Great Britain around the early 1990s. So yeah, so Jax is nearly in his 30s in these events. He's nearly 30. When he was older, he moved out at around 18, deciding then and there to move to America for a better new hope, as Britain just kind of felt depressing for him. And if you remember his rich cousin, remember him? Or you. He treated you, I kid you not, like a slave. But that isn't him, not Jax. That's besides the point, though. Next up, so Jax, after moving to America, kinda had lived a normal life until 25, where he met a young African-American male, aka Savage. You asked him if back then you kind of needed someone to manage your logistics, because iconically your logistics were never always the best. Taxes and all that stuff. And you knew if you didn't, IRS was gonna be trying to find you. So you hired Jax, as he had as in school he took a class. Actually, in fact, Jax took a class in economy, just so you could find a bank job or be an accountant, which he definitely did become an accountant. Eventually, you took him under your wing. You kind of taught him how to use guns. Or remember more. Oh, I really did not want to use violence. I guess you could say I'm a pacifist, but now I'd say I'm no longer as much of a pacifist. But yeah, I'm still your accountant, so... Oh right, I forgot to mention about Gory, he still likes to demand for extra pay. That's something that won't change, will it? I think he just does it because he knows he can get away with it. You know that, right? I still don't know how he has those, like, Goku powers. But, yeah, so... Jack Xavier Bradley the 18th, or Thompson Bradley the 18th. Definitely one of my more better characters. Not as in-depth as compared to people like Bogdan, William, Reginald, or even the DJs. Now, who is the next character you want to know about? Any villains, any normal characters? Or even some of the other characters from like video games and stuff. Or even the YouTubers who I unofficially have on these stories. Don't tell them, but kind of do because I do want to know what the reaction will be, but don't please. But yeah, so Savage. Anyone else you want to have? Anyone else you want to ask about? We have a lot of characters and a good amount of time left. So tell me now or forever hold your peace. Wait. Any other crossover character, any other YouTuber character, or any other, like, original character or villain? Ooh, so which villain you want to know about? Okay, Donald Percival, son of Ray Percival, which, by the way, Ray Percival is not canon in GTA. To my knowledge, Ray Percival is not canon, so please don't take that as canon information. Not Ray Percival is simply just an original character. Donald Percival, though. So I forgot all about that one YouTuber's video about who is Don Percival. I completely forgot about that. So I'm just gonna go off of what we know. And this is Calamity Multiverse, where you can actually look up Don Percival, his character from GTA 5 if you want. But this is what we know. Don Percival is the owner and CEO of Merryweather Security Consulting, a very big rival to Savage Security. One who's developed some iconic things, such as the Merryweather Titans, also known for starting the Merryweather War, one of the many security companies under the Gameverse Council's rule. And Don Percival, when he uses his mech suit, he is known as Mechanized Don Percival, for giving him a more robotic-ish look. Don Percival is one of our most oldest villains, but around the time of the Tryhards and a couple other. Eventually, we had things like the rise of GCC, though, where Don Percival was killed. But at least, right, Savage? Remember that, the whole Percival being killed? That was a crazy time, as Merryweather didn't return for quite a while, having no CEO whatsoever. No one was running it, had nobody. Until you, yes you Savage, did some poking around the Calamity Alliance. The Calamity Alliance Security and Defense Building or complex, where you found the frozen remains of Donald Percival himself within a cryo chamber. And then he proceeded to, quote, break into a base and steal his body back, causing lots of property damage in the process, killing many people. But that is also a story that introduced us to Wolfina, so... But he still killed a lot of people and caused a lot of property damage to my base. So thank you for that. But of course, eventually Percival did come back, now as a friendly and no longer as this villainous person. He was no longer a villain, now leaving all that behind and eventually deciding to sign a mutual agreement between you and him, aka Savage, and him, to avoid war with each other. But there were still things like rogue Merryweather Titans that were self-sentient and had gone rogue, leaving Merryweather is still its own thing and will always be the best. But those rogue units, as well as rogue Merryweather mercenaries, and all of them, have mostly phased out though and are no longer that relevant, as they mostly now keep to themselves, fighting proxy wars within Israel, and as well within the Houthi-controlled Yemen. And that's really it. We haven't heard from Percival much, as well as we haven't heard from Percival. He's kind of been neutral in all these conflicts. He's rather keeping to himself than to get involved in whatever shenanigans or war we have started up. Now, that's Don Percival for you. Again, go watch @Thames' video called The Truth About Don Percival. Make sure to go watch that. he does a better job of explaining Dan Percival as a character in GTA. I just simply expanded on his story as really Savage. When you think about Savage, they really didn't use Percival all too much in story mode. So I decided to take Percival off Rockstar's hands. I also wonder if Mary Wilfer will be in GTA 6. I wonder if they'll be in there. I used only a tactical SMG, boy. Ah! Oops. Great. Savage. I'm gonna call my buzzard. You call in your own vehicle. We gotta move. Hey Savage, you can call in a vehicle here, by the way. Just wait for me to take off, and then you should be able to spawn in. Like, don't call in your Titan though. Your Titan won't fit here. It'll spawn somewhere else. Call in like one of your attack helicopters. Got it? I'm gonna need a classic vehicle, man. Okay, man, you should be good now that I'm away. So, who is the next character you'd like to hear more about? The origins, specifically. Who'd you like to hear about next? So who'd you like to hear about next? Ooh, Leon F. Tarman. So his origins, because we know what Leon betrayed the Forgotten Ones, right? So, we actually don't know much about Leon's origins in general. But all we know is that Leon was a member of the Forgotten Ones with the likes of the Engineer, Chaos Causer Richard, and Flame Mask Tracer, and at least 10 others. These with all of them making up what is known as the Forgotten Ones, a group of ragtag bandits, Chaos Causers, and Pyromaniacs forming a group with their leader, the Voyager, seeking revenge on the narrator, as the Voyager was the long-lost god known as the Destroyer. But that's for another video. Leon F. Tarman was one of these members, known as the Predator, for his always dark clothing and being able to sneak around places generally undetected. The Predator, aka Leon F. Tarman, though, had been hearing a strange voice communicating to him, telling him of bad things that he'd do in the future if he didn't abandon the Forgotten Ones. So, on a whim, decided to abandon them, taking one of their ships, which will later be an inspiration for the GSA Assault Chopper. But that again is for a whole other episode. Once he had successfully left, he started a new life, got a wife, and had kids. he had three sons and he had three sons and three daughters
Okay,
and
so you're in
a
serious trouble,
wife.
and you need my help. Okay.
And a wife. But then he heard the voice again. It told him that unless he burned his house down in the name of the DJs, who he had no idea who they were. The voice said it would all be explained in time. And on a whim, burnt down his family's home with them in it, unknowingly not knowing that one of his sons had actually survived. And this son would later be known as Jonathan Len Hugo. And if you're wondering why John is called Jonathan Len Hugo, even though Leon is named Leon F. Tarman, Leon changed his name after abandoning the Forgotten Ones to Leon Len Hugo. But after this, it also turns out one of John's sisters and Leon's daughters, one of Leon's daughters and one of John's sisters, Fina, had actually escaped and was out hunting, but when the fire started, with her only seeing a man running off in the opposite direction, and John crouched to the floor of a house, not knowing what to do. The 16-year-old Fina ran off, eventually meeting the same fate as John, with a deal with the narrator. But that's for another story. Take a guess who you think Fina became. But then, time passed, and Leon had started yet again a new life, once again as Leon F. Tarman, which went well for him. He started a company, Gameverse Security Agency. He had no family, but he had himself and his wife's wedding ring, which he took before the house burned. But he was alone, and after the whole war had began to forget all about it until the attack that would shape the future of the Calamity Multiverse. Savage, if you remember, there was the GSA raid, the one where we attacked the GSA airships, and where John had died. Which Leon had actually, when Leon was about to kill John, letting him fall off the side of the airship, he looked at him and was actually surprised to realize that he looked oddly similar to Leon, just younger and more withered. But not wanting to let his feelings get to him in that moment, let John go, not knowing that this was actually his long-lost son. But after that, Leon changed. He went back to a ruthless dictator, ruling his company empire, aka GSA. But then there was the fateful thing, the thing that would change everything as we know it in the Calamity Multiverse. And Savage, I think you remember it, right? Savage. There was a fateful attack on the GSA base, where the Calamity Alliance attacked Leon this time. And Leon, after being crushed by Calamitron, was ended for then. It wouldn't be until Season 2, The Forgotten Ones, where Voyager would hunt down one of these Leon clones, not knowing that the one that was killed was not actually the real Leon. In fact, it was a clone, one of 3 clones. Then there is the Leon that engaged the beaker device to flee the Forgotten Ones there, and then there is the last clone, the one the Forgotten Ones had captured, with the second Leon clone being killed by Savage. After interrogating this third Leon clone, the Voyager attacked the Gameverse, landing in Vespucci, and had until the finale where it is revealed that Leon was alive and well, having been frozen for months, close to a year. Season 2 had began become madness, as stated in the Multiversal Madness name. The Alliance was in disarray, Leon was back, and Savage was beginning to make friends. This is around the time Savage met Catnap, as well as introducing characters like Roger, Jack Xavier, and Agori to his little group of crazy psychos. Eventually, though, things eventually didn't calm down, but then there was the final story. Remember that one, Savage? The final story? You really thought it was the last story we'd do. But nope, then we got the Clone Wars, which after Leon exposed the fact that he's actually John's long lost father, John finally kills Leon, using the power of Calamity against Leon, which led to Leon being supposedly killed, but also, Savage, remember, it also led to the death of basically the entirety of the Calamity crew. Even DJ, me, and everyone, a bunch of others were killed. Until John made one last deal with the narrator to bring them all back, arguing that this world wouldn't be so entertaining if everyone was dead. Which he wasn't wrong, as the narrator brought everyone back. John, now knowing his father was dead for good, until Villainy. Villainy is where we see the return of Leon F. Tarman, as he, along with other villains, had been brought back to life seemingly after escaping the In-Between realm. A realm between life and death itself. The In-Between was an eternal prison for Leon as well as other villains, including the newly added Toy DJ and Clone DJ. But now that he was back for revenge. And after a couple close calls and more, we'll finally get to see what happens in Villainous, the Calamity Multiverse finale, coming soon. And that, guys, is all we have time for. This was a special episode of me expressing just how in-depth and crazy these stories are. The 3-year anniversary of me and Savage. My basically 2-3 years on YouTube, all leading up to this. Me getting to tell you guys all about my crazy, wacky, and absolute calamity of an idea, a dream, and a story. And Savage, cheers to 3 years of you and me being friends. Right, Savage? 3 years. I'm glad I could just express everything about this crazy world of mine, from the simple side characters, which even they have their crazy tales of past, Comment down below if I should do a video breaking down all of my characters, giving you explanations of their past, history, inspiration, and in general more facts than just this hour-long appreciation of me looking back at these past 3 years of our friendship and history. So guys, that's this mission, and we'll end there. I think this would be a good place to end it, right, Savage? Cheers to 3 years and to the future, but we'll see what happens in the season finale, Villainous, the Calamity Civil War, the Calamity Alliance versus the Galactic Empire, and way more I'm planning, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below what me and Savage here on the Calamity Trio YouTube channel should do next. Savage, anything you want to say to the viewers? Wait, hold on. Savage, can you go to the front of the car? It's not working. Savage, can you go to the front? Like, go to the front grill. Go look. Hey, Savage, go look at the front. Maybe. I think. Go check there. After 3 years, man, you still fell for it. Hop in. Savage, no, Savage. After 3 years, this man still falls for check the hood. After 3 years, Savage, I'll let you beat me up for the outro. But Savage, even after. Yep, 3 years, man. And yep, guys, even after 3 years, this man still falls for what. Go on, check the hood. He still falls for it, and I promise you this was not planned. I just wanted to do it last minute just to see if he would still fall for it. Sorry, Savage, but hey, at least we know you still fall for the old trick after 3 years. Remember when I'd always do it to you? I'd just say, hey, something wrong with the engine, man, it's not working. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave a like and subscribe and comment down below what we should do next. And now I'm gonna let Savage beat me up for like the last 1.5 minutes. Sound good, Savage? How does that sound? Letting you beat me up? So just press circle. But Savage, we now know, even after 3 years, you still fall for the good old engine ain't working, so can you get out and check it for me, please? Oh no. Oh, so I'd hurry, by the way. I'm gonna give you until this video runs out to like a minute, so I'd hurry. But yep, guys, Savage, he still falls for it. I didn't know if he would. Also, Savage, I'm gonna let you beat me up off camera. That would make for a funny outro if this thing wasn't so messy. But yep, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment what we should do next. And remember, keep the chaos going, Calamity Crew, and remember, stay awesome.